In 1978, Hubbard was in La Quinta and he was making movies. And he had a young assistant who'd been on the Apollo with Hubbard since he was 12 years old, a young man by the name of David Miscavige. In 1978, too, 9 were indicted, including Mary Sue Hubbard. And the judge said, "The crime committed by these defendants is of a breadth and space previously unheard of. No building, office, desk, or file was safe from their snooping and prying. No individual or organization was free from their despicable conspiratorial minds." Hubbard was really quite worried. What was going to happen to his wife? Would he be indicted? He even went so far as to send a loyal follower to his wife to ask her for a divorce. He probably didn't need to worry. He was not indicted. 9 pleaded guilty. And the court unsealed the records, and we obtained a lot of the information that we have. Those records now, again, are sealed. Everything was falling apart. And in February of 1980, L. Ron Hubbard disappeared with Pat and Annie Broker, and he was never seen again. In 1981, messages were received by people in the upper echelons of Scientology requesting their resignation, and they did. And by 1982, David Mayo said, quote, "It's like the Lord of the Flies. The kids, fanatics, all of them, have taken over." Rehabilitation Project force was in even greater force then. And if you did anything with the technology, or if you didn't cough up your fair share of the money, you were in big trouble. Also, now we had finance police and the inspector general. New organizations. And it looked as though Pat and Annie Broker and David Miscavige were in charge. All of this is possible, too, because of a fellow by the name of Jerry Armstrong. Jerry researched and wanted truly to do a good biography of Hubbard. He did a lot of research between 1980 and 82. He couldn't reconcile what he was reading with what the story, the party line was from Scientology. And he fought for his right to keep this material. Scientology desperately wanted it back. And at the end of the court proceedings in 1984, Judge Breckenridge said, "The organization clearly is schizophrenic and paranoid, and this bizarre combination seems to be a reflection of its founder. The evidence portrays a man who has been virtually a pathological liar when it comes to his history, background, and achievements. A man gripped by egoism, greed, avarice, lust for power, vindictiveness, and aggressiveness against persons perceived by him to be disloyal or hostile." On January 24th, 1986, L. Ron Hubbard died. Shortly before his death, he wrote, "The Sea Org and the Future. I, LRH, Commodore, am hereby assuming the rank of Admiral. The rank of Commodore is retired from active service in the Sea Organization at this time. As we move on up the track, the Commodore rank will be reinstated as needed. A new rank of Loyal Officer is created directly above the rank of Captain. Ann Broker is hereby promoted as the second, Pat Broker is hereby promoted to the first Loyal Officer. Annie Broker is hereby promoted as the second Loyal Officer." And he goes on, "I'll be scouting the way and doing the very first port survey missions. I expect your continuing backup. You've got a little under $1 billion left in your current hitch, and it is hoped you will sign up again. Veterans are valuable. So there it is. You know what to do. You know how to do it. Hold the form of the SO. You've got the watch. We will meet again later." 1986, Scientology settled 27 of their lawsuits and sealed the records. How do you get into Scientology? Well, at this point, you could take an IQ test, you could take a personality test, you could read Dianetics, you can get involved in any of the myriad of wise management programs for businesses. Mostly they've been going, it seems to me, to dentists and chiropractors. Or you can read an ad in the paper. There was one in the San Jose Mercury News and one in the Chronicle offering jobs for counselors. The pay on that, as I recall, was somewhere in the neighborhood of $9 a week, and you got to work from 10 in the morning until 11 at night. And you could take a Scientology course or two if you wanted to pay over a little bit of your salary. You could also get into it through Narconon or the Purification Rundown. I thought it would be important for you to know a little bit more about the Purification Rundown because it was in the news recently. Channel 2 did an expose. It was developed in 1977 as a program for healthy living. But as with other things, like the e-meter, just having it there was not good enough. It had to be very special. And Ron wrote about it. In 1973, he wrote, someone got the Nobel Prize for curing insanity with niacin. And I read that and I thought, that's interesting. I wonder who that was. So I got my little encyclopedia out and I looked at 1973 and I think something's wrong with my encyclopedia. I mean, I don't think Ron could be wrong. The Physiology and Medicine Prize that year went to Conrad Lenz for his individual and social behavior patterns. You remember him. He was the guy that became a mama to a flock of geese and they followed him around forever. And in chemistry, the prize was for auto exhaust pollution. Well, I don't know. Maybe I got the year wrong. But the Purification Rundown was basically exercise, a good diet, although they didn't prescribe the diet, lots and lots of vitamins, the sauna, good oil to replace the bad oil you were getting rid of, and niacin. Niacin was supposed to show you, demonstrate, as you flush, the poisons that you have in your system. And Scientology admits that everyone does flush when they take niacin. And you do get used to it. This now in Scientology is their Narconon program, and it seems to be that they want everyone to take this program as they work their way up in Scientology. As I said, Channel 2's Ross Becker did a story on it. The California Board of Quality Medical Assurance is investigating it now. Louisiana firemen who had been exposed to PCBs somehow were talked into taking the course and spending $200,000 of Louisiana's money to get PCBs out of their system via the Purification Rundown. But one of the doctors interviewed by Channel 2 called it scientific gobbledygook.